jẹ́ ẹ̀jẹ́ fún orílẹ̀-èdè mi ilẹ̀ Odùduwà tó ń ṣàn fún wàrà àti fún oyin, ilẹ̀ tó kún fún àwọn akọni ọgbọ́n, ètò àti òye. Mo ṣe ìlérí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ológo ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀, ìtànṣán oòrùn láti la ayé já nílẹ̀ Áfíríkà, láti gbé ilẹ̀ Odùduwà lárugẹ. Mo pinnu láti fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan fún ìlọsíwájú ìran Yorùbá. Mo fọwọ́ sọ̀yà pé n kò ní dalẹ̀ tàbí ṣọ̀tẹ̀ sí ìṣọ̀kan àti ìtẹ̀síwájú orílẹ̀-èdè mi ilẹ̀ Odùduwà. Èmi yóò fi gbogbo ipá, ọkàn, iṣẹ́, ọgbọ́n àti ìṣe mi sin orílẹ̀-èdè mi ní òtítọ́ àti lódodo títí ọjọ́ ayé mi. Gbogbo ìyànjú àwọn akọni tó ti lọ kò ní já sófo láti ọwọ́ mi títí dé ìrandíran tí ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn. Mo ṣe ìlérí pé ẹ̀sìn tàbí ìṣèlú kò ní yà wá nílẹ̀ Odùduwà. Tó bá wáyé bẹ́ẹ̀, mo lè lo ọkàn ẹ̀jẹ̀ tó kù sára mi láti fi ṣègbè àti jàjàgbara fún orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Ilẹ̀ Odùduwà, ìran Yorùbá, èdè kan, àṣà kan àti ìṣe kan ló so wá pọ̀ láéláé lágbára Elédùwà.
Bọ́jọ́ bá pẹ́ títí ọjọ́ àgbìn o, bọ́nà bá jìnnà jìnnà àdópin o. Àti sáré àdópin aré, àmàtìjìyà àdópin ìyà o. Àti sunsun àti kan ògiri, ó má ti gbẹ̀yìn kọ́ lọ́tẹ̀ ìmọ̀ o bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
Ilé òní gbóná kárẹ́nu omi kọ́lé, ayé òní kóró kálọ̀ dífá ọ̀run o. Láyé náà la ó wà, títà ó fi ṣẹ́gun lójú àwọn ọlọ́tẹ̀. Ẹkún akọjá òkùnkùn ajímọ́lẹ̀ fáwa ọmọ Yorùbá, ọjọ́ ayọ̀ súnmọ́lé o.
Ó di láéláé pọ́npá, ó mà di láéláé pọ́npá. Yorùbá ò ní dọ̀bálẹ̀ ẹ̀fẹ́ nìkan, ó di gbẹ̀yìn kọ́ lọ́tẹ̀ ìmọ̀ o.
Yé ẹ dìde dìde bí ológun, ẹ bá jàgà sílẹ̀ o, ẹ rántí àtọmọdọ́mọ. Kò ní sún wa, kò ní rẹ̀ wá, tá ó fi ṣẹ́gun. Tẹni tó dé ó sàn ju ẹni tirẹ̀ ń bọ̀, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ò ní dídúró. Kẹ́dúró gbọ̀n, kẹ́dúró gbọ̀n, kẹ́dúró gbọ̀n gbọ̀n gbọ̀n. Àtùpàgbé oníkànnì o, bí ẹ bá sùn ẹ gbé, ọjọ́ ayọ̀ súnmọ́lé o.
Bí a bá kú tí a bá jí, a ó mẹ́ni rè fẹ́ràn ẹni. Ẹni bá ṣàìsàn wò ni yóò lè mọyì àlàáfíà. Bí a bá ṣaláìní ká tó wá ní, a ó mọyì bàbá ń fojoojúmọ́ jẹun ata. Ó dífá fún Yorùbá tí í ṣe ọmọ Odùduwà, bàbá mi òkè gàgàgà tí í ṣe lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ lẹ́yìn aṣòótọ́.
Odùduwà ó pè yín.
Ọ̀yọ́, Ìbàdàn, Oǹdó, Ìjẹ̀ṣà, Ilé Ifẹ̀ o.
Gbọ́ ohùn alóore, Odùduwà ló ń pè.
Àkúrẹ́, Ọ̀wọ̀, Ìkàrẹ́, ẹ̀yìn Èkìtì, ẹ gbóhùn Ìgbé o.
Gbọ́ ohùn alóore, Odùduwà ló ń pè.
Ìbàràpá, Ilé Ẹ̀gbádò, ẹ̀yìn Ọ̀ṣun, ẹ gbóhùn Ìgbé o.
Gbọ́ ohùn alóore, Odùduwà ló ń pè.
Ẹ̀yin Ìjẹ̀bú ọmọ Àlárẹ̀ o, ẹ̀yin Ẹ̀gbá ọmọ Lísàbí.
Gbọ́ ohùn alóore, Odùduwà ló ń pè o. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá, ọjọ́ ayọ̀ súnmọ́lé o.
Ẹ dúró gbọ̀n, ẹ dúró gbọ̀n, ẹ dúró gbọ̀n gbọ̀n gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá. Àfi ká dúró, àfi kí Yorùbá ó ṣetán láti gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa lọ́wọ́ àwọn Fúlàní agbénipa, lọ́wọ́ àwọn tí wọ́n sọ pé dandan àfi kí Yorùbá ó wá ṣẹrú. Àwọn tí wọ́n rí wa bí ẹrú, àwọn tí wọ́n rí wa bí third class citizen ní Nàìjíríà, àfi kí Yorùbá ó dìde o, ká dúró gbọ̀n wípé ó di dandan sẹ́ẹ̀. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kì í ṣe lẹ́rú, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ti wà níṣe. Ẹ̀dákẹ́dá kan ò lè sọ pé kóun wá bá wa nílẹ̀ bàbá wa kó tó wá sọ pé ká kúrò ń bẹ̀ tàbí kóun máa mú wa ṣẹrú rárá o. mo kí yín káàbọ̀ sórí ètò Yorùbá Nation Now látòrí ìkànnì BGI TV bàbá gbàgede ìmọ̀ tẹlifíṣọ̀n, ìkànnì tẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ lórí Facebook sí gbàgede ìmọ̀ with aláwìyé Adébáyọ̀. bákan náà ni ìkànnì yìí wà lórí Instagram, ẹ mọ̀ wá sí gbàgede ìmọ̀ _22. mo wá rọ̀ yín wípé ẹ bá wa buwọ́lù ìkànnì kéyìíkéyìí tẹ́ bá ti ń wò wá, bóyá orí Facebook ní o gbàgede ìmọ̀ with aláwìyé Adébáyọ̀, ẹ wo ibi tó kọ fọ́lò síbẹ̀ kẹ́ fọ́lò wá. bó bá sì dórí ìkànnì Instagram lẹ́yìn tí ń wò wá gbàgede ìmọ̀ _22, ẹ fọ́lò wá ń bẹ̀ náà. ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wá wà lórí YouTube, ẹ wo ibi tí wọ́n kọ subscribe sí, tẹ́ ẹ bá tí ì ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ ẹ subscribe fún channel wa yìí kẹ́ bá wa buwọ́lù kálọ̀jọ dìkan náà. bákan náà ni pé àmì aago kan wà níbẹ̀, eléyìí ni wọ́n pè ní notification bell, ẹ tẹ̀ yẹn náà kájọ dìkan náà. bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti tẹ notification bell yẹn ẹ rí tí all tó máa jáde, ibi tó jáde sí yẹn ṣàtẹ̀ òkè pátápátá ló wà. bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti tẹ̀, ìtumọ̀ ẹ̀ ni pé gbogbo iṣẹ́ tá bá ti ń ṣe sórí ìkànnì yìí òun náà lẹ fẹ́ máa wò, kí wọ́n máa gbé alamí ẹ̀ wá, kó máa gbé notification ẹ̀ wá bá yín pé lórí BGI wọn tó ti sẹ́ndì fídíò kan síbẹ̀ o, kẹ́ ẹ lọ́ọ́ wò ó. ó yá ẹ wá nǹkan fìdílé tàbí kẹ́ fìdílé nǹkan kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ àjọjẹ̀gbá ládùn ètò tòní. ẹ rí bọ́lá ti ṣe ṣètò, mùsùlùmí ń gbààwẹ̀, kìrìsìtẹ́nì ìṣọdún méjèèjì náà ló papọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà, àti kìrìsìtẹ́nì o àti mùsùlùmí o. mo kí wa kú ọdún àkúyèdún, tọdún yóò ní jẹ́ àṣemọ̀. gbogbo mùsùlùmí ayé méjì ló papọ̀ lónìí, Jumot Mubarak àti Ramadan Kareem, gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ni mo kí wa papọ̀. ẹ wá ara wa kìrìsìtẹ́nì, mo mọ̀ pé lọ́la á lọ Gálílì, á lọ pàdé Jésù, àbíjọ́ Sunday ni bóyájọ́ Monday là á lọ Gálílì, èyíkéyìí tó bá jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. èmi ti fi kẹ́tẹ́kẹ́tẹ́ tèmi mo ti fi pamọ́ síbì kan tí mo máa gùn lọ sí Gálílì lọ pàdé Jésù níjọ́ Monday. ṣẹ́yìn náà ó lọ, ẹ pàdé wa ń bẹ̀, Ọlọ́run ó yọ́nú sí wa. ó dáa, Sunday ni Jésù ó jíǹde, á wà lọ pàdé ẹ̀ Gálílì níjọ́ Monday. àgbẹ̀kọ̀ ìgbà yẹn láwọn àwọn akọni wípé lọ́jọ́ àjíǹde àwọn ọkùnrin lọ sọ́dọ̀ Jésù, àwọn obìnrin lọ sápamọ́ sílé ọtí o bá ṣe wá kọ́ kékeré nìyẹn. tó o yá ẹ wá nǹkan fìdílé àbí kẹ́ fìdílé kan kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ àjẹgbádùn ètò tòní. a ti gbé ọkọ̀ náà sí orí agbami, àjọ fẹ́ rìnrìn àjò náà fún ìṣẹ́jú péréte. ó sì dá mi lójú pé èbúté ayọ̀ òun náà lájà sí pẹ̀lú ògo Ọlọ́run. oúnjẹ tá a fẹ́ sè mo máa sọ gbogbo ìgbà yóò kan lẹ́nu àwọn kan torí pé òdodo ọ̀rọ̀ ni, bíi bọ́ǹbù lòdodo ọ̀rọ̀ ṣe máa ń rí. bí wọ́n bá jùlù yàn yóò gbẹ́ lómi ìṣubú gbà ó, yóò sì tẹ́ lómi ìṣe. ẹni bá fẹ́ òdodo á nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí oúnjẹ tá a fẹ́ tẹ̀ yìí, tá a fẹ́ sè yìí. ẹni bá jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ Yorùbá tó fẹ́ kí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá délẹ̀ lérí yóò nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí oúnjẹ tá a fẹ́ sè yìí. àmọ́ o, ẹ sọ fáwọn ọ̀tá Yorùbá pé kí wọ́n má wulẹ̀ tí ẹ gbọ́ rárá o, torí pé má rù òun lo oògùn ẹ̀, bó o bá ti rù o ò ní lè sọ kalẹ̀ mọ́, torí òdodo làwọn ò máa sọ níbí. ẹ má jẹ́ aṣọ léyá ká má sọ dìlé pẹ́. mo dúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run ọba ẹlẹ́dàá, ọba lónìí, ọba lánàá, ọba lọ́jọ́ gbogbo, ọba tí yóò kú jáde láàrin alààyè, tí ń yà alààyè jáde láàrin òkú, ọba tó fi ilé tó fi sọ́mọ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀, tó tún pàṣẹ ní sọ́mọ̀ méjèèje, táṣẹ rẹ̀ sì múlẹ̀ ní ilẹ̀ méjèèje. wàláì kò sí olówó kan gbogbo ayé, kò sí màláíkà kan tó lè ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ́yìn Ọlọ́run. Ọlọ́run náà ni mo dúpẹ́ fún, dúpẹ́ tí òun ló sì jẹ́ kájọ máa ríra, torí pé mi wà lára mi náà lẹ ṣe rí mi èmi ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀, torí pé mi wà lára ti yín náà lẹ ṣe rí mi ní kedere. àwọn tí wọ́n ti kọlẹ̀ gbìn táyé ti torí wọn gbé dígà, wọn ò ní rí mi wò mọ́ láíláí. ó tiẹ̀ tí wọn kò jẹ́ pé wọ́n nífẹ̀ẹ́ mi. wọ́n fàsìkò yìí tọrọ kí Ọlọ́run bá mú yẹ̀pẹ̀ àbúrú kò lójú wọn. ayé ò wá tí ní dìde ìṣẹ́jú kan fẹ́mi àti yín lágbára Ọlọ́run. ẹ bá ń pe gbogbo Yorùbá síta kí wọ́n yá mi létí wọn. ẹ pe àwọn àgbààgbà Yorùbá síta kí wọ́n yá mi létí wọn. ẹ pe àwọn olóṣèlú ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kí wọ́n yá mi létí wọn. kájọ wá fetí gbéyàwó ọ̀rọ̀, kájọ wá dáhùn béèrè. Mo tún ti gbé béèrè mi dé tí mo tún fẹ́ bi wọ́n lónìí. Ṣé wọ́n yá ọpọlọ èèyàn lò ní tí èèyàn bá ti jẹ́ olórí nílẹ̀ Yorùbá? Ṣé wọ́n máa ń yá ọpọlọ wọn lò ní? Torí pé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá mi ò rí àrìndín ńbẹ̀, mi ò rí ọ̀dẹ̀ ńbẹ̀, mi ò rẹ́ni tí ò gbọ́n. Àmọ́ nígbà míì ohun táwọn èèyàn ó jẹ kò ń jẹ́ kọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ gbọ́n. Ṣé mọ̀ pé wọ́n ní béèyàn bá jẹ dòdò ẹnu rẹ̀ ò ní sòdodo. Bó tiẹ̀ ti hùn kó jẹ́ kó mọ̀ kó dodo rèé kò ní sọ. Yóò máa fi gbákanbọ̀ kan nú ni, yóò wá máa fi ẹ̀bà yóò máa fi lẹ̀ kọ́bọ̀ lójú torí pé ó ti gbowó kọ́bẹ́ sápò àbí ó ń rí jẹ níbi màdàrú. Òun ló ṣe jẹ́ pé gbogbo ohun tí ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá yìí jẹ́jẹ́ mọ̀ pé ojú tó fọ́ làwọn kan fi ń wò wọn ò tiẹ̀ rí. Ẹlòmíà tún máa kú èrì yín ni pé kí ni tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá táàdìrú ẹ̀rí, ṣé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá nìkan ni? Kódà ẹlòmíì ṣépè fẹ́ni bá sọ pé Yorùbá máa dá dúró. Ọmọ Yorùbá mi ṣépè fún wọn ní ẹ̀ ń dà lóru ni, wọn lè fẹ́ bà Nàìjíríà jẹ́, wọn ní wọn Nàìjíríà làwọn fẹ́ bá lọ. Bá a sọ̀rọ̀ ṣé òyìnbó kan ní can't you see the handwriting on the wall? Ṣáwọ ò tí ì rí bọ́rọ̀ ṣe ń lọ ni pé kò ṣú ọ̀mọ́ pé ọdún 10 sígbà tá a wà yìí ìlú yìí sì lè wà lódindi. Àfi tí ara bá yé ni àwọn èèyàn, àfi tí àwọn tí wọ́n wà nípò òṣèlú tí wọ́n bá ráwọn àwa tí wọ́n ń ṣe ìlú lé lórí tí wọ́n bá rí wa bí èèyàn. Torí lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí wọ́n rí wa bí bèbí, wọ́n rí wa bí tọ́ì, wọ́n rí wa bí ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ́mọ lágídí. Kò sí tún téèyàn lè fọmọ lágídí pa, kò sí bí téèyàn lè ju bèbí sí. Èèyàn lè kàn kó pápá tí ò ní sọ̀rọ̀. Àwọn olóṣèlú tí wọ́n jọ̀gá wa tí wọ́n rúlu wa wọ́n ti rí wa bẹ́ẹ̀ wípé àwọn tá à ń ṣàkóso lé lórí ọ̀tẹ̀ ní gbogbo wọn. Bákan náà ni pé wọ́n ti mọ bí wọ́n ti ṣe ń fi nǹkan dí àwọn èèyàn wa lẹ́nu. Ṣé torí ẹ̀ lèmi ṣe ń pariwo ní gbogbo ìgbà pé ọmọ Yorùbá òyìnbó kan á ní shine your eyes. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ tún tí wọ́n pa nílẹ̀ Yíbò? Ọ̀rọ̀ ànábíjẹta ni mò ń sọ yìí. INEC jókòó wọ́n ṣe registration fáwọn èèyàn. Àwọn tí ò tí ní PVC wọ́n sì kó PVC ìjọba ti ṣe registration ẹ̀ wọ́n á kọ orúkọ ẹlẹ̀. Àwọn tí wọ́n ti kọ orúkọ tẹ́lẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá wọn kó wá gbogbo wọn ni wọ́n wà ńbẹ̀. Nígbà táwọn àti láàwí débẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ Yíbò tí wọ́n ní sẹ́ẹ̀ nílùú tàwọn kò sí tó ń jẹ́ election. Ìyà ń jẹ wá ẹni ká máa wá dìbò. Olóṣèlú ni wá lára, wọ́n tó ní dandan àfi ká tó dìbò fáwọn. Ṣé yẹn ló kàn? Làwọn Yíbò ìbáyọ ó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀. Èmi ò lè show fídíò yẹn torí pé YouTube á mú pé violence, kódà Facebook wọn á yọ dànù. Tá a bá yọwọ́ yẹn ni bá fi fídíò yẹn hàn wá. Wọ́n dá àwọn staff INEC dọ̀bálẹ̀. Ọdún mo gbọ́ nínú sí pé wọ́n pa nínú wọn, ṣùgbọ́n fídíò tèmi ní lọ́wọ́ kò yọ pé wọ́n pa ẹnikẹ́ni. Àmọ́ wọ́n dá wọn dọ̀bálẹ̀, wọ́n sì kó àwọn irinṣẹ́ àwọn INEC lọ. Gbogbo PVC táwọn èèyàn lò páwọn ti rẹ́gísítà fún, wọ́n dá gbogbo ẹ̀ dànù láti fi hàn wá pé Yíbò ṣetán lóòótọ́ láti dúró síbi ọ̀rọ̀ wọn pé sẹ́ẹ̀ kò sí election 2023 lọ́dọ̀ tiwọn. Bí Yorùbá náà bá wá òyìnbó á ní take your destiny in your hand. Táà náà bá fọwọ́ wa bèrè ọ̀tọ̀, èmi ò fara mọ́ pé ká máa gbébọn ká máa fi jàgídíjàgan ṣe no. Ọ̀rọ̀ ẹnu báyìí náà ni ká fi béèrè. Yorùbá lẹ́nu ẹni lèèyàn fi ń kọ méje. Ẹnu náà láfi sọ, ìdí náà láfi jókòó. Àwọn olóṣèlú yóò lè force ẹnikẹ́ni nínú wa jáde síta. Táwa náà bá wo ìyà tá à ń jẹbọ̀ látọdún 15 látọgbọ̀n ọdún sẹ́yìn. Ọdọọdún mẹ́rin là ń jáde bọ́ sínú òjò nú ẹ̀rùn tá a sọ pé à ń dìbò. Nígbà tí wọ́n bá fẹ́ gbàpótí wọ́n á ṣúgà kóòtì, wọ́n á fi gbogbo ṣúgà oríṣiríṣi sẹ́nu, ẹnu wọn á máa dùn bí iyọ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ kán débẹ̀ tán wọ́n á kàn ṣàkísà lù wá ní lẹ́yìn ọdún 4. Wọ́n á tún dọ́dún 4 wọ́n á tún padà wá, wọ́n á tún wá sọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ sọ́bọ, àlùbọ́sà ńlá títa Hausa, ráìsì ike kan 1000 naira torí burúkú ti bá. Wọ́n á yá mú, wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé bí ti ń pa àwọn èèyàn, wọ́n sì mọ̀ máa fi bí para ìlú ni. ṣó wá yẹ kí Yorùbá náà tún máa bá wọn ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ bó bá tiẹ̀ débi lásán náà fi ń pa wá ṣe bó dáa tí wọn ò tún fi kú gbóná pa àwọn Yorùbá. Gbogbo tó ń jẹ́ insecurity ló wà nílùú yìí lóòótọ́ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá nìkan kọ́ ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀tá bá fojú inú wo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Nàìjíríà lénìí ṣé ẹ rò pé tí a bá ṣọ́ra ṣé ẹ rò pé ìlú yẹn sì lè wà fọdún 10 sígbà táwa yìí pẹ̀lú bó ṣe ń lọ yìí. Yorùbá ní ti súnsọ̀hún bá sún kò giri wọn la bojú ẹ̀yìn àbúyọ̀jẹ́ ó lẹ̀ rílẹ̀ yíbò yẹn súnsọ̀hún wọn ti sún kò giri ni nínú orin Ògúndé ta play wọlé ó ní a ti sún a ti kọ ògiri ó mà dìgbẹ ẹ̀yìn kọ́ lọ́tẹ̀ yìí mọ́ ọ nígbà tí súnsọ̀hún bá sún kò giri bàbá á bojú ẹ̀yìn àbúyọ̀jẹ́ kó wá tó di pé Yorùbá ó máa bùyọ̀jẹ́ ló ṣe dáa ká tètè béèrè ń tà fẹ́ kó sí ń tà fẹ́ ju wípé a ní Yorùbá sọ pé nígbà tí ayé ń dùn lẹ Yorùbá yẹn wọ́n láwọn fẹ́ padà sáyé yẹn nígbà táwọn ọmọ wa lọ léèwé lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ tí wọn kì í san kọ́bọ̀ nígbà tí àwọn aláboyún wa bímọ sọ́sibítù lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ tí ó tún jẹ́ pọ́sibítù ló tún máa fún wọn ní aṣọ ọmọ wọ́n láwọn fẹ́ padà sáyé yẹn tó wẹ̀lé ọmọ aṣọ ọmọ tí kì í ṣe pé òbí máa bímọ tán wọ́n á lé sórí páálí ẹníṣẹ́ ìbímọ pẹ̀lú ara tútù gbà tí ò bá rówó sọ ọkọ mi àgbọ́ pé ìyàwó ń bíbejì á gbé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o èmi ti rẹ́ni kó sódòrì torí pé ìyàwó ẹ̀ bí bẹ̀ta 6 ti wà nílé tẹ́lẹ̀ méjì ni wọ́n bíbejì ọmọ kẹta tí wọ́n máa bí ó di 5 ńgbọ̀n tún máa bí ègé lọ́ba tún bí 3 léṣe lọ kọ́ kó sódò ṣé báwọn kan ni wọ́n sọ̀lú ìdà báyìí ṣé bí ilé tí wọ́n ṣe rí rèé àwọn táwọn lọ pé kí wọ́n ṣe olórí àpò tara wọn ni wọ́n ń dù ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wà nínú ìbànújẹ́ nínú igbe àwọn tí wọ́n wá ráyè bọ́wọ́ bọ́sẹ̀ tí wọ́n sá lọ kúrò Nàìjíríà yìí wọn ò lè wọlé mọ́ o ilẹ̀kùn títì torí pé wọn ò ní fẹ́ káwọn wá kúkú àìmọ̀dí Nàìjíríà ṣó wá yẹ kó máa rí bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. nítorí wá bí ni nínú ni pé ṣàgbọ́ọ̀tù tẹ̀ ń wò yìí eléyìí fi hàn wá pé ọmọ Yorùbá ti ṣe tán bí wọ́n ti rí kiri nìyẹn àwọn ojú pópó ẹ máa rí àwọn sàmbọ́ọ̀dù yìí níkọ̀ọ̀kan káàkiri ojú pópó torí pé láti fi hàn wá pé ìwọ tó o bá ní kò ní ṣeé ṣe àwọn èèyàn ti ṣetán láti dúró pẹ̀lú ẹsẹ̀ méjì pé àníṣe Yorùbá nation is a must. nílùú Ìbàdàn nǹkan kan ṣẹlẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ láìpẹ́ yìí tí mo rí tó bà mí nínú jẹ́ gan-an kódà ó bà mí nínú jẹ́ náà kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ̀yin tẹ̀lé mi nígbà tí mo wà ní gbàgede mọ̀ ní last year ẹ rántí wípé sẹ́ríkì ibì kan nìbàdàn sẹ́ríkì Fúlàní ní Ìbàdàn gangan ẹ mọ̀ pé ó gba àwọn ìlú Ọ̀yọ́ state generally oníkálùkù ìlú kọ̀ọ̀kan ló ní sẹ́ríkì tiẹ̀ ara wọn ní sẹ́ríkì Ìgàngàn tí wọ́n lé lọ tó ti sá lọ lọrin sẹ́ríkì tó jẹ́ sẹ́ríkì nìbàdàn sẹ́ríkì Fúlàní ní ìlú Ìbàdàn ẹ̀yin tẹ̀lé mi ní last year fọ́tò ọmọkùnrin náà lẹ́ ń wò yìí ẹ̀yin tẹ̀lé mi dáadáa tẹ́ ń wo fídíò mi ní last year pàápàá jùlọ ní bíi June July ní last year yẹn ẹ rí pé sẹ́ríkì ẹyọ kan ṣo tẹ́ ń wò yìí ọjà ṣàṣà nígbà tí ìjà ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́jà ṣàṣà bóyá ṣàṣà ẹ̀yin ará Ìbàdàn ẹ má bínú mi ò mọ bí ẹ ṣe ń pè ní ìjà kan ṣẹlẹ̀ níbẹ̀ ní ìgbà náà tí wọ́n dáná sun gbogbo ṣàṣà yẹn ìjà yẹn ṣẹlẹ̀ láàrin Fúlàní àti Yorùbá kódà wọ́n pa aláboyún kan ń bẹ̀ pàápàá tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá gbàgbé àwọn National Assembly members kan láti ilẹ̀ Haúsá wọ́n gbéra wọ́n wá sí ìlú Ìbàdàn wọ́n dé sí ọ̀dọ̀ gọ́fúnà Ṣèyí Mákindé gọ́fúnà Ṣèyí Mákindé pẹ̀lú àwọn National Assembly members yìí ni wọ́n jọ lọ sọ́dọ̀ sẹ́ríkì wọn ò kọ́kọ́ gbọ́dọ̀ Olúbàdàn ọ̀dọ̀ sẹ́ríkì ni wọ́n kọ́kọ́ lọ wọ́n sì dọ́dọ̀ sẹ́ríkì wọ́n dúró for almost 1.5 hours kí sẹ́ríkì yẹn tó yọjú sí wọn sí odindi state governor láì ṣe first class ọba lọ́yọ̀ state o láì ṣe first class láì ṣe Olúbàdàn o ó tiẹ̀ gbọ́ pé gọ́fúnà ń bọ̀ ó yẹ kóun jó nǹkan ló máa wá dúró lẹ́nu ọ̀nà dé gọ́fúnà common man tó tẹ̀lé tírélà délùú Ìbàdàn ni tí wọ́n wá wò pé ta lórí ẹ̀ dáa jù ní gbogbo àwọn tó rí àwọn burú sílùú Ìbàdàn yìí nínú àwọn Fúlàní ahakẹlẹbẹ wọ́n wò pé wọ́n wo lórí ẹ̀ dáa ó dáa jẹ́ àfihàn jẹ́ Sẹ́ríkì ara wọn ni wọ́n yàn kò ń ṣe kóyè ìdílé kan torí ìran Fúlàní kan kì í joyè Ìbàdàn wọ́n fi jẹ Sẹ́ríkì láàrin àwọn Fúlàní akómàlú ṣé bá ní wọn nìkan ló yẹ kán ti recognize ẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n táàrí tó yani lẹ́nu nílùú Ìbàdàn ni pé déédéé iye àtàpọ̀nlé tí wọ́n fún Olúbàdàn ni wọ́n fún Sẹ́ríkì yìí kódà wọ́n tún réètì ẹ̀ ju ọba Olúbàdàn lọ nílùú Ìbàdàn ní last year yẹn ó dùn mí pé mi ò ní fọ́tò yẹn lọ́wọ́ mọ́ mo gbé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ bá ń tẹ̀lé mi dáadáa ní last year tí mo fìbínú sọ̀rọ̀ gan lórí Sẹ́ríkì pẹ̀lú gọ́fúnà Ṣèyí Mákindé gọ́fúnà Ṣèyí Mákindé débẹ̀ wọ́n ní láti jókòó de ọba yìí nígbà tí ọba yìí dé gbogbo wọn ni àwọn Fúlàní yẹn àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wọn dọ̀bálẹ̀ kí wọ́n tẹ̀kí dáadáa wọ́n tẹ̀kí ni dáadáa wọn ò bọ́ lọ́wọ́ o kódà tó fi dórí gọ́fúnà Ṣèyí Mákindé wọ́n tẹ̀kí Sẹ́ríkì lásán dànù yìí wọ́n jọ ṣe mítìn tán máa ṣe tán lórí ṣàṣà tó jó wọ́n wá lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wá lọ sọ́dọ̀ Olúbàdàn ìyàlẹ́nu tá a rí bẹ̀ ń gbà yẹn ni pé nígbà tí wọ́n dé ọ̀dọ̀ Olúbàdàn àwọn National Assembly member yìí iye àtàpọ̀nlé tí wọ́n fún Sẹ́ríkì wọn yẹn Sẹ́ríkì Fúlàní wọn ò fún Olúbàdàn nírú àti iye àtàpọ̀nlé yẹn o wọ́n dúró báyìí wọ́n dẹ̀ ń bo Olúbàdàn lọ́wọ́ ni ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá mi wo fídíò yẹn gbà yẹn mo gbé fọ́tò ẹ̀ wá tí gbogbo wa rí wọ́n dúró sórí ẹsẹ̀ wọn wọ́n bo Olúbàdàn lọ́wọ́ Sẹ́ríkì yẹn jókòó sórí àpèrè ńlá gọ́fúnà Ṣèyí Mákindé jókòó sórí àpótí lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ó wá dàbí pé first class ọba sí ordinary governor ni ìtumọ̀ wá fẹ́ fàyọ ni pé the same Sẹ́ríkì yẹn nísìnyí ẹ jẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn tán pàápàá kò tiẹ̀ tí nídìí kí n sọ tó ṣe ní ìgbà tá a máa rí gbogbo àwọn ìyá tí wọ́n ń tajà ní ṣàṣà tó jẹ́ Yorùbá wọ́n padà sí ṣàṣà ni o gọ́fúnà Ṣèyí Mákindé lọ kọ́ ibòmíì fún àwọn Fúlàní yẹn ni tí wọ́n ti ń tajà dọ́là wọ́n wá pè ní ṣàṣà kejì wọ́n ní táwọn àwọn ìyá yẹn mo rí wọn báyìí nínú social media tí wọ́n wá ń gbà yẹn wípé ṣàṣà àwọn tí ń tajà ṣàṣà àwọn tí wà ń bí o kò sí ṣàṣà tuntun àbí kí náà pè bí ṣàṣà dẹ̀ ni wọ́n ní kò sí ṣàṣà tuntun o àwọn ìyá yẹn ń pariwo ń gbà yẹn ṣùgbọ́n gọ́fúnà Ṣèyí Mákindé kọ́ ibòmíì fún àwọn Fúlàní yẹn wọ́n kó wọn lọ́bẹ̀ wọ́n fi Yorùbá sílẹ̀ dọ́là bóyá ní ọjà tí ń lọ ní ṣàṣà yẹn bí ṣàṣà dẹ̀ ni the same Sẹ́ríkì Fúlàní yìí sìn mo gbọ́ wípé orúkọ ẹ̀ jẹ́ Alhaji Zungero yìí mo tún wá gbọ́ pé ní gbogbo ìlú Ìbàdàn Traditional Council of Chiefs wọ́n ní wọ́n ti fi máyì wọ́n ti forúkọ ẹ̀ sí òun náà ti wà nínú Ìbàdàn Traditional Council of Chiefs nísìn àwọn lóyè ìlú Ìbàdàn orúkọ tiẹ̀ náà ti wà ńbẹ̀ Fúlàní ni o kì í ṣọmọ Yorùbá o orúkọ ẹ̀ ti wà nínú Ìbàdàn Traditional Council of Chiefs nísìn tí wọ́n bá ń polóyè ìlú Ìbàdàn tí wọ́n bá ń pa àwọn lọ́balọ́ba tó bá ń polóyè wọ́n á porúkọ Sùngẹ́rò yẹn náà mọ́ ṣé Yorùbá gbọ́ ni àbá mọ̀ sí kí ni àjọṣepọ̀ àwọn àti Fúlàní tó kú wá le tó yìí kí làwọn Fúlàní gbé fún àwọn olórí wa jẹ tí ò yé mi alájú wálẹ̀ wọ́n dú Yorùbá bó ṣe wù wá kí wá ní eré kílajá àti wá bẹ́kùn wọn ṣe Olúwo náà bú ṣe gàdà òun náà kọjá sílẹ̀ Haúsá sílẹ̀ Fúlàní sọ́dọ̀ àwọn Fúlàní ó lọ fẹ́ ọmọ Fúlàní wá sáàfin. Ẹ bá wa bí àwọn olórí àwọn tó jẹ́ lọ́gàlọ́gà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ṣé èdì ń dì wọ́n ni àbí kí ni ká pè é? Ṣé ìtàn ṣe yẹn ṣe é gbọ́? Council of Chiefs ní gbogbo ìlú Ìbàdàn àti ìhò ọba òpè méjì ń bàdàn ìjòyè lè pọ̀gbọ̀n àmọ́ láàrin àwọn lóyè ládéládé lóyè wọ́n máa ka sùngẹ́rò yẹn náà mọ́ wọ́n ti incorporate sínú ẹ̀ òun náà ti wà ń bẹ̀ òun náà ti lè pàṣẹ ìlú Ìbàdàn. Fúlàní tí wọ́n ṣojú ẹ̀ pa Yorùbá in tó bí mi nínú láti àyẹn ni pé Yorùbá kú àláláboyún kan kúṣẹ́ ní ṣàṣà yẹn ní ṣàṣà ọjà ṣàṣà Yorùbá kan kú o tó jáláboyún Fúlàní ló dá wà lálẹ́ o alábàárù. At the end of the day chairman àwọn Miyetti Allah ó tún wá dìde ó wá ń bi Yorùbá léèrè wípé dandan èèyàn 100 ló kú nínú kinní yẹn o àti wọ́n pa èèyàn 100 ní SARS tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá gbàgbé ọ̀rọ̀ yìí bí o gbàgbé o èmi kinní ni mo present ẹ̀ last year. Ó ní wọ́n pa 100 ní SARS tó ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ó ní wọ́n tún ti pa 100 ní lọ́jà ṣàṣà yẹn nítorí ẹ̀ àwọn fẹ́ gba 245 billion naira lọ́wọ́ Nàìjíríà. Wọ́n ní kíjọba san owó yẹn gbogbo àgbáríjọ ìjọba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá wọ́n ní kí wọ́n san 245 billion naira fáwọn tó bá san owó yẹn àwọn ò ní supply oúnjẹ wá sílẹ̀ Yorùbá mọ́. Lódodo gbogbo trailer wọn tí máa wọ bí wọ́n sì sí ẹ̀. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́yìn èèyàn máa cast kẹ́ máa rántí bó ṣẹlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ last year. Tòmátò wọn jẹ́ kó wọ bí ṣùgbọ́n gbàtọ́ Ọlọ́run ó mú wọn gbàtọ́ Ọlọ́run máa mú wọn n tó tètè ń bàjẹ́ ni tòmátò. Màálùú ló padà jẹ tòmátò wọn yẹn ni wọ́n padà wà ń bẹ̀bẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ náà wọ́n gba 145 billion naira lọ́wọ́ gọ́fìmẹ̀ntì tó sanwó yẹn fún wọn 145 billion. Yorùbá ò bẹ̀bẹ̀ o mo rántí pé Yorùbá ò bẹ̀bẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n wọ́n padà kó oúnjẹ yẹn wọlé wọ́n náà máa ṣe fóṣù 3 oṣù 4 kó tọ́sẹ̀ kan tó ti bẹ̀ sí ní kó wọlé. Àwa rí picture bí màálù ṣe ń jẹ bó ṣe ń jẹ tòmátò wọn dànù níbi tí wọ́n rùjọ sí tó ti bàjẹ́ nígbà tó orílẹ̀ Yorùbá kó wá mọ́. Lásìkò yẹn làwọn Fúlàní yẹn wá pa ṣégè sí Yorùbá lára kí wọ́n pàápàá jùlọ àwọn àgbẹ̀ kágbẹ̀ bá máa lè lọ sóko. Wọ́n sì ń pààyàn dì sí o Arábí yẹn sì ń pa Yorùbá dì sí wàláhì wọ́n sì jí Yorùbá gbé. Ṣe rí láti páàtì Yorùbá nílẹ̀ Kogi padà wá désàlẹ̀ kò síbi tó safe pẹ̀lú pé gbogbo governors forum ilẹ̀ Yorùbá wọ́n parapọ̀ wọ́n ṣòfin kẹ́nìbọ̀dì má kó màálù káàkiri mọ́ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá irọ́ tó tóbi. Kódà ẹ̀yin àti màálù tẹ́ bá ń drive lọ ẹ máa yà fún màálù ni. Wọ́n bullshit àwọn governors wa wọ́n bá búùtù wọn ní gbogbo òfin tó ń ṣe nonsense ni. Ẹnìkan ti sọ́rí ó ní kó máa wo òfin tí wọ́n ṣe yìí o ó ní implementation ẹ̀ ó ló easy fún wọn láti sáré ṣe ó ní bẹ̀tí implementation ẹ̀ máa le nínú àwọn secretary Miyetti Allah ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ó ní south ń parọ́ ni ó ní kò sí ta lè ṣe ó ní gbogbo òfin yẹn ó ló easy fún wọn láti sọ lóòótọ́ ó ní àmọ́ wọn lè implement ẹ̀ ó ló ń jẹ́rìí wọn ṣó wá parọ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ń rìn kiri ilẹ̀ Yorùbá sì ẹ máa pàdé àwọn Fúlàní tí wọ́n ń kó màálù ṣeré bó ṣe wù wọ́n ni. Open grazing ìgbà yẹn náà láwọn ṣe open grazing lọ àwọn báàní open grazing irọ́ tó tóbi àìmọye màálù tó wà street káàkiri. Ẹnìkan fẹ́ ṣèkómọ ní Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ ìkómọ ẹ̀ kú ọ̀la ìyàwó ẹ̀ bímọ kán dẹ̀ ṣèkómọ ní ọ̀la. Àwọn èrò tó wá dé sílé ilé tuntun tó ṣẹ̀ kọ́ ni àwọn èrò tó wá dé síbẹ̀ wá wò pé ìyàwó òun tó bímọ yìí èrò ló ti délé kò dẹ̀ síná àkútìmọ̀ àwọn ọ̀gá wa Nàìjíríà wọn kò ní fún wa ná. Ọkùnrin yẹn wá gbé kẹ́ẹ̀gì epo ó pe ọlọ́kadà ó gbọ́kadà pé kóun lọ filling station tí ó jìnnà sílé kóun lọ fi ra petrol jẹ́bi lípè màálù ló kan ọkùnrin yẹn pa mórí orí ọ̀kadà màálù ló kàn wọnú gọ́tà tó kàn pamọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹni fẹ́ ṣe kò mọ lọ́la tẹ́ ẹ bá gbàgbé mo gbé kéèsì yẹn inú mi dùn BBC náà gbé last year ni mò ń sọ yìí àsìkò yẹn ni wọ́n ṣe òfin open grazing ṣó wá múlẹ̀ láti fi yí àwọn governors wa pé irọ́ ni wọ́n ń pa they are nothing lójú Fúlàní nígbà tí Tinubu tún máa gbàpò tí ní àwọn wo ló ń sáré lọ́dọ̀ wọn lọ bẹ̀bẹ̀ ìbọ́dọ̀ wọn náà ni ẹ wá ní Yorùbá ò kì í ṣe ẹrú already àti acknowledge àwọn ẹni àsọ̀gá wa náà systematically àti acknowledge wọn pé ọ̀gá náà jẹ́ sí wa lóòótọ́ ẹrú yín la jẹ́ the same ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yìí ní Oǹdó mo gbàgbé oyè ọba yẹn odindi ọba first class ọba wọ́n dẹ̀ yìnbọn pa nínú ààfin driver ẹ̀ tí ẹ̀ try láti gbé olúgbọ́n ni ó dà pé ìrántí orúkọ ọba yẹn mọ́ wọ́n bá driver ẹ̀ gbé sá lọ làwọn Fúlàní yẹn yìnbọn pa ńgbà tí wọ́n wọnú ààfin kò sí tó ṣẹlẹ̀ o ọlọ́pàá wà arrest wọn báyìí wọ́n pa ọba yẹn gbé wọ́n wá lára àwọn aráàlú Fúlàní wá jáde wá nùgbó wá accuse ẹnìkan nínú aráàlú pé wọ́n pa màálù òun kan ti pa ọlọ́pàá dìídì gbé àwọn alamí dìde kí wọ́n wá ṣalamí láàfin ta ló pa màálù Fúlàní wọ́n ń ṣèyẹn lọ́wọ́ as if that was not enough ẹ wò wọ̀ sí o wọ́n pa ọba ọlọ́pàá òdìdé o wọ́n wá pa ó sọ ní alleged ni ó sọ pé wọ́n pa màálù òun ọlọ́pàá wá dìde investigation the worst part tó tún wá ṣe lọ́dún yẹn ní last year yẹn ni pé wọ́n tún wá rányàn wá wọ́n tún ráwọn DSS wá látàbújá kí wọ́n wá kó àwọn olóyè ìlú yẹn wá sàbújá ẹnìkan wá fún mi lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ mo wá ṣe program níjọ́ náà pé olóyè tí wọ́n bá bí kú nù yín kóhun náà tẹ̀lé wọn tó bá jẹ́ pé ẹrú lẹ jẹ́ wọ́n pa ọba yín first class ọba wọ́n rányàn wá látàbújá kan wá kó Fúlàní tó ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹnìkan wá sọ pé wọ́n pa màálù òun wọ́n wá rányàn wá látàbújá kan wá arrest gbogbo ẹ̀yin olóyè ẹni bá gọ̀ọ̀nù yín kó tẹ̀lé wọn adúpẹ́ fọlọ́run gbà náà ohun tá a gbé sókè ọlọ́njẹ́ ó fùnà wọn ò rí wọn gbé wọn ò tẹ̀lé wọn headquarter ọlọ́pàá lọ́rọ̀ yẹn die down sí àwọn olóyè yẹn láwọn ò lọ ṣùgbọ́n gbà tán rí pa ti ń pariwo wọ́n fọwọ́ wọ́n ti rí wa lárìndín wọ́n ti rí Yorùbá níwọ̀n o kódà màálù pàtàkì sí wọn ju Yorùbá lọ àwọn rí ní first class citizen Fúlàní ni second class citizen màálù wọn ni wọ́n ṣe arrest ẹnìkan lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ in fact ó wà kóòtù lọ́wọ́ báyìí kéèsì ẹ̀ wà kóòtù wọ́n lóun àti Fúlàní jọjà ọwọ́ ẹ̀dẹ́ jọwọ́ Fúlàní lọ ló bá pa Fúlàní ọwọ́ ní tó ṣe yẹn wọ́n arrest ẹ̀ kéèsì ẹ̀ sì lọ lọ́wọ́ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ sí ó bá Fúlàní nínú oko ẹ̀ wọ́n sì jọjà ọwọ́ ẹ̀ bá ká Fúlàní mo rò pé òun ní nǹkan lára wọ́n yé èèyàn tí Fúlàní ti padànù sínú oko mélòó nù wọn ni wọ́n gbé lọ kóòtù mélòó nù wọn gbogbo àwọn nǹkan ìwà ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ìṣírí ẹlẹ́wọ̀n àwọn ará Ìbàdàn ó tún wá ṣàgò mọ́wọ́ wọ́n tún wá múnú Fúlàní wọ́n tún fi ń ṣe member of council of chiefs ọdọ́ àdúpẹ́ fọlọ́run o Olúbàdàn sọ̀rọ̀ irọ́ ni o òótọ́ ni o aṣáàgbọ́ pé bàbá sọ̀rọ̀ pé ní Olúbàdàn kan ṣẹ̀ jẹ́ ó ní láwọn ń tà wọn láwọn sọ́pọ́ọ̀tì kí Yorùbá dá dúró wọ́n sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àgbọ̀ kán wá fi ìwà wọn tì lókù ẹ mọ̀ pé easy láti sọ òyìnbó ní it is easier said than done wọ́n ṣe sọ ìdá kán wá jẹ́ káàdì lára wọn pé lódòdó lémi tèmi o èmi sọ́pọ́ọ̀tì Yorùbá mo fẹ́ kó dá dúró ìṣesí mi kán dẹ̀ máa fi ṣesí yẹn hàn káyé máa rí wọn lè impeach wọn lè dethrone wọn kó lọ́ba Ọlọ́run ti fi wọ́n jẹ́ náà rẹ́dì àìrìnpọ̀ méjò ló ń jọ méjò níyà tó bá jẹ́ pé kí paramọ́lẹ̀ síwájú kí ṣèbè tẹ̀lé kọ́ká náà tẹ̀lé òjòlá tó dó lórí ejò kí yẹn máa wá wọ́ bọ̀. Mo fẹ́ wo bàbá ọdẹ tó fẹ́ dúró tó fẹ́ gbóná wojú ejò tó fẹ́ láwọn fẹ́ pejò. Àìrìnpọ̀ Yorùbá àtàwọn olórí Yorùbá ló fìyà ìjẹ wá náà. Àlọ́ba kan ṣe dìde sẹ́ tó lọ fẹ́ wọn wálé sáàfin. Gbogbo aráàlú yẹn dẹ̀ ń wò, àwọn afọbajẹ ìlú náà ń wò. Ó ti ṣe ó ṣe gbé. Ta ló yẹ kó dúró ní àti wọ ìlú, kó dúró lẹ́nu bodè ìlú pé kì í ṣe ìlú ìlú wọ́n máa wọ o. Láti ìlú Kánò ọmọ Àdòbáyérò pure Fúlàní, kì í ṣe ìlú ìlà máa fẹ́ wọ̀ sí o. Tó bá jáyé àtijọ́ ni tí ẹnu kò, mo jẹ́rìí àwọn wàrẹ̀fà àwọn afọbajẹ ìlú. Àmọ́ láyé sí owó ló ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ o. Owó ni fámúnsìn. Ìlú kan òkè ọ̀hún ọ̀tọ̀ lẹni tí wọ́n mú lọ́ba tẹ́lẹ̀ nígbà fárí 3 mílíọ̀nù náírà tó sì rí mọ́tò irú mọ́tò mímọ́ mẹ́ka káàtì wọ́n rà mọ́ ní fábá yílò ẹnu padà ló jẹ́ pé ọ̀tọ̀ lẹni tán mú. Wọ́n ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ibi tó dẹ̀ kùtà abáyédèrè. That is why tó fi jẹ́ pé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá àfikọ́ lọ jẹ́ kí ìlú wa rójú kó ráyè. Olúbàdàn wọn láwọn support Ọlọ́run ajé orí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ọlọ́run ajé orí bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Wọ́n ní ní tàwọn o. Àwọn fẹ́ kí Yorùbá dádúrà àwọn support yẹ. The first class ọba tó máa kọ́ sọ kankan tó ti ẹjọ́ mọ́ Yorùbá nation tèmi gbọ́rí nìyẹn. Tó máa jẹ́ first class o. Tó máa jẹ́ òkè ẹjẹ́ ìpè báyìí first class ọba ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ dáadáa. Irú àwọn Olúgbọ́n, àwọn Ṣílẹ̀, àwọn kí ló orúkọ ìdílé àwọn Ṣílẹ̀ mú gbàgbé orúkọ ọba yẹn. Kì í ṣọba Ọ̀ṣílẹ̀ o. Tẹ́jú Oṣó, ọba Tẹ́jú Oṣó kan wà tó wà ní mo gbàgbé orúkọ ìlú yìí ní Ọ̀ṣun. Kúta Ọ̀ṣun. Àwọn orú àwọn ọba yẹn first class ni wọ́n. Àwọn ohun ò tí ẹ̀ fi bò. Kódò sọ̀kanjọ́ kan tán wá gbé látàbújá wọ́n gbé sọ́lẹ̀ náà ni. But for the first time nínú Olúbàdàn, Aláké, Aláàfin àti Awùjalẹ̀ ti Jẹ̀bú pẹ̀lú bàbá wa Ọọ̀ni tilẹ̀ Ifẹ̀. Náà ọba márààrún tí agbójúlé nílùú ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yìí o. Àti Ewí Àkúrẹ́ àti Tòǹdó náà for the first time ìkànnù wọn sọ̀rọ̀ bóun support Yorùbá nation which is Olúbàdàn tuntun tó ṣẹ̀ jẹ́. Ó wá kù kan wá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ bó ṣe sọ yẹn, ó kù kan fi ìwà wọn tẹ̀lé kárí lóòótọ́ pé yes bàbá ìṣetán láti dúró tilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Mo sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan pé Fúlàní ò dákẹ́, wọn ò dákẹ́ rárá, wọn ò tí yé pa Yorùbá. Mo rọ́rọ̀ sọ lé lórí ẹjẹ́ adélé agbára mú padà.
This is good news to all. But first of all, write this number down. 1-845-293-8937. You will get through to Define Travels and Tours. They help you process and obtain USA work permit visa, tourism and visiting visa, vacation and cruises. Wow! The USA work permit visa allows you to legitimately work anywhere in USA once you arrive. Interesting. Call Divine Travels and Tours, New York, USA on 1-845-293-8937 or send email to divinetravelstours5@gmail.com. Divine Travels and Tours is tested, trusted, and reliable.
Tó ẹ káàbọ̀ padà. Mo sọ̀rọ̀ kan lẹ́ẹ̀kan, àwọn ọmọ Àkúrẹ́ ti correct mi o. Wọ́n ní Déjì Àkúrẹ́ ni kì í ṣe wí Àkúrẹ́, Déjì Àkúrẹ́. Ẹ má bínú ẹ̀yin ọmọ Àkúrẹ́. Torí mọ̀ pé wọ́n máa pè mí sí ẹ̀ wọ́n máa correct mi. Wọ́n ti correct mi nínú studio. Wọ́n ní Déjì Àkúrẹ́ ni. Àwọn ọba yìí a nídìí kí ogun náà sọ̀rọ̀. Wọ́n dẹ̀ fi ṣe sí wọn sí. Àbí ta ni òkàn? Ta ni òkàn náà? Ta ni òkàn? Ìlú wo la ṣe ti rí Ondo state? Ondo, Ògùn, ìlú àti Ọ̀yọ́, ìlú mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta yẹn ló fìlì Fúlàní jù. Ondo state, àwọn Fúlàní yẹn pàṣẹgè. Ọ̀yọ́ state, the same thing, gbogbo àwọn ọ̀gọ̀gàn, nǹkan àwọn Ìbàràpá most especially, ojú wọn hàn ṣégè, ojú wọn hàn màbo. Ẹni bá fẹ́ kú lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ tí ò rọ̀ náà, kó lọ gba ọ̀nà Ìjẹ̀bú Òde lọ sí Ìbàdàn. Tó fẹ́ kú ẹsẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ tí ò rí, kó lọ gba ọ̀nà Ìjẹ̀bú Òde lọ Ìbàdàn. Kó wo bó ṣe fẹ́ rí. Tó bá ní lọ́kì inú mọ́tò 10 tó bá gbabẹ̀, àwọn Fúlàní yà kó wọn mú 4. The same Ogun state. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni Yewa l'Ogun state. Wọn ò tí yọwọ́ ń bẹ̀. Wọ́n sì ń jíyàn gbé. Kódà láàrin Abẹ́òkúta, láàrin ìgboro, last 2 weeks tán sì gbé brother kan tèmi mọ́, àwọn méjì náà ká mọ́ mọ́sálásí, wọ́n dẹ̀ gbé wọn lọ. 5 million náà fi gbà wọ́n lẹ̀. Ní nílùú Abẹ́òkúta yìí. Kí la fẹ́ ṣe sí nílùú? Kéèyàn dẹ̀ máa tún gbèlú bàbá ẹ̀ láì ṣe pá lọlẹ̀ Haúsá o, láì ṣe pá lọlẹ̀ Fúlàní o. Tí Fúlàní dẹ̀ tún wá káyàn mọ̀lé kó dẹ̀ jí gbé lọ. Àìmọye nǹkan náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní tàkiri kan tó lè raise 5 million. The funnest part ni pé wọ́n á dẹ̀ tún sọ fún yín ni pé lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ láàrin ìjọba ìsíjọba ìtẹ́bà ti produce owó yẹn, àwọn máa pa àwọn ẹni yẹn. Wọ́n á sì pa wọ́n lóòótọ́. Àìmọye tá a ti rí. Ẹlòmíì máa pa wọ́n, á tún gba ransom yẹn. Á pa ẹni yẹn, á tún gba ransom. Later ni wọ́n máa gẹ́ẹ̀tì pé wọ́n ti pa ẹni yẹn. Àìmọye tó ti kú bẹ́ẹ̀ dànù. Ìlú Ìjẹ̀bú, àwọn náà fìlì wọn. Abẹ́òkúta, Yewa. Ibo wa nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ Ogun state náà nìyẹn, Ìjẹ̀bú, Yewa àti Ẹ̀gbá. Rẹ́mọ mi fi bẹ́ẹ̀ gbọ́ púpọ̀ Rẹ́mọ, but ìlú mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta yẹn kódà àfìlì Fúlàní. Akọrin ẹ̀mí kan, òun náà ojú ẹ̀ hàn màbo lọ́dọ̀ Fúlàní. Àtòun àtàwọn crew members ẹ̀, wọ́n láwọn gba play ní Kogi state. Wọ́n ti wá fi Ondo lẹ̀ díẹ̀, wọ́n ti ń wọ̀lú Kogi lọ, làwọn atiláwí ìbáyọ̀ sí wọn. Wọ́n gbé wọn, kódà ó dá mi lójú pé ìgbà yẹn gan ni ilẹ̀ Ìgbẹ̀níyẹn náà tó máa mọ̀ pé gbogbo ariwo tá à ń pa pé Fúlàní jíyàn gbé lẹ̀ Yorùbá. Mo mọ̀ pé jọ́yẹn lọkùnrin yẹn náà máa gbàgbọ́ tó lójú ẹ̀ wọ́n ṣe gè. Ó wá ṣàlàyé gbogbo tójú òun rí bí wọ́n ṣe jó òun gbé, ìyà tí wọ́n fi jẹ òun, wàláhì kò sì rọ́ńbẹ̀. The funnest part ni pé ẹni bá láyè escape lọ́wọ́ wọn tó jàjà ní lọ́kì tí wọ́n fi lẹ̀ láyọ̀. Ṣé rí trauma yẹn? Ó máa ń wà nínú brain wọn tó máa fi kú ni. Ẹlòmíì lójú àlá ẹ̀ báyìí, lójú oorun, aràn tí á dìde kò ní lè sùn. Brother tí wọ́n jí gbé tí mo sọ pé mo mọ̀ yìí, kò tí get system medicine. Bí ìjọ́ 5 péré dẹ̀ lòun lò pẹ̀lú wọn. Ṣùgbọ́n ìjọ́ 5 yẹn láti ìjọ́ tí wọ́n ti bí, mi ìròpòjú ẹ̀rí ń tójú ẹ̀rí ń bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ẹlòmíì kì í lè safe escape trauma yẹn. Trauma yẹn máa wà nínú brain ẹ̀ tó máa fi kú ni. Kódà kẹ́ fọwọ́ kàn báyìí, ó máa ṣọ́gìjì bí ẹni wípé wọ́n tó ti wá jí òun gbé. Arákùnrin yẹn ṣàlàyé tójú ẹ̀rí ń bẹ̀. Mò ń bọ̀, ẹ jẹ́ àjọ tẹ́tí gbọ́n tó wí. Kẹ́sì wo picture olórí ẹ̀mí yẹn lẹ̀ ń wò yìí. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ bá mọ̀ dáadáa. Ń tójú ẹ̀rí òun náà rí, ẹ jẹ́ àjọ gbọ́.
There. I was on a gig or on a show as a musician, as a recording artist to one of my friend and my brother to Kogi State, Kaba. And we had a nice time. So I said, okay, should we travel by air? But I said, Kogi, if we travel by air, we have to go through Abuja and come by road. So by road from Abuja to Kogi is another few hours. So let's all of us just enjoy the ride. So we took a minibus for about 9 of us. We branched in Akure, everywhere, enjoyed ourselves, musicians, artists. So just 20 minutes to the town of Kaba. We saw like a road. In fact, I think a minute we passed a military checkpoint. So when we saw a military checkpoint, not even a police checkpoint. So when we saw the road, so we were moving, thinking that, oh, this place should be safe. Just like 2, 3, 4 minutes. It was a bit of a bumpy road, but everybody is the normal road that people travel as, So I said to myself that should we go? This road looks like, but we saw people passing the road, so we forged ahead, and we were going. But I noticed like a Fulani man in front, by the roadside. So I didn't really know what it is exactly, but
How would you know he was a Fulani man?
Yeah, first of all, I grew up in the north.
Okay.
Yeah, I started my primary school in Jos. No, in Kano, went to Jos, I went to Kaduna. So I'm a bit, familiar with the northern style and stuff like that. And, to crown it, I'm a musician that has traveled. I've traveled all over the country and all over the world. So I knew, I know that they rear their cattle and everything. So I was just going. The more I approached the man, the more I was uncomfortable. And I was looking at my mirror, looking at my back. So when we were almost close to the man, I stopped. The man double-crossed the road with an AK-47.
Wow.
Yep. So I looked at my mirror, my rear mirror, to look at my back. So as I was trying to reverse, 3 other people came from the back. So
were they in a car or still on that bumpy road?
On the bumpy road, they came out from the bush. We're in Kaba already. So as I was trying to go back, I couldn't go front because I noticed that they were carrying AK-47, cutlasses and machetes and everything. So they smashed, I was the one driving.
Wow.
They smashed my glass, both the screen and everything, with a big cutlass, and they cocked the gun. So at that point, we surrendered, and they marched 9 of us into the bush. 9. I've got 2 ladies, 2 female backups, so we were marched into the bush, and their faces were painted, 4 of them. So what they did was that they just say, you, and the first miracle God gave us was that the ladies were separated from us, and 3 others. So they marched 4 of us into the bush at around about past 4, quarter to 4. So that was how the whole thing started, like a joke. So they destroyed the car, So one of my boys went back to the military checkpoint that I talked about earlier on for help. They couldn't get help.
He was able to escape?
No, they just took 4 of us and left 5 of them.
Oh, they took 4 and left 5?
Yes. Me and 3 other inclusive, they took us, they kidnapped us. So we started trekking. So I was talking to them in Hausa, and you ask me, why do I know that they are Fulanis and Nijers? Because, in Hausas, you can differentiate some Hausa language from the other one.
Yes. Like
Yoruba and Ijebu. So I know because I lived in the north. So, but they can still speak Hausa, but not like so I started begging them, and, they were torturing us. That's even not the problem. So we trekked, our first trekking was from that junction of that Kaba. We trekked for since about past 4, quarter to 4, we trekked till about 1 a.m. non-stop.
Wow.
Non-stop. And one of my backup, which I don't want to mention, his name is a male. As at that time, he is a bit on the big side. He was losing breath, trekking for, So he told me that, Sati, I would like to, let me just end it up here because my tongue is already, is dried up. I can't manage everything. So they were telling me in Hausa that, look, Zam kashe shi yanzu, meaning we will kill him. It doesn't cost us anything, that he's been delaying our movement, that we're supposed to be covering some miles at every point in time, that he's been delaying our movement. So I was begging them, they would smack me the gun on the head, on the hand. I was begging them that so my talking drummer had to carry my backup singer because he's lost everything. He said he wants to die. So they told me in Hausa that, okay, what they want to do is that if this guy is going to delay their movement, that they will kill him and sell his body parts.
Are you serious?
Yep. They said they are going to sell his body part, that since it's just disturbing us, that now, in my presence, the people that will come to pick his body parts, they will come, they will sell, so they are not going to lose. So with faith, we didn't even know what we were doing. We were just doing everything with faith that, well, this is the end. Because 4 of them were carrying AK-47. As at that 1 a.m., they took us to a bush. We didn't even know where we are again, but we had trekked from about 4 till about 1 a.m. the next day. So when we got to where they had to, because it's late in the morning, very, very late in the very dark, in the bush, in the thick of the bush. So they lit up sticks for us to have lights and ray, bonfire. They tied us, 4 of us together. So my drummer now was telling me that, boss, you know what? We can overcome these 4 people. We are 4, they are 4. That this gun is not normal gun. You know, the euphoria of the attacks and everything, we didn't even know whether it's a real gun or not. So they were telling me that, boss, let's run. I didn't know what came on me, because naturally I'm not always afraid. But I was just relaxed that, you know, we are 4. If we run, they know this bush. We don't even know where we are. And do you know where we are?
Where?
They took us from Kaba. We're already at the Ondo Bank.
What?
We trekked from Kaba to Ondo Bank, because it was in the morning that we realized that we have trekked from Kogi to Kaba, to Ondo. You know, because when we woke up in the morning, I spoke to them in Hausa, where are we? They said we're in Ondo, that this is Ondo.
Oh, they were even interacting.
They were interacting. One was 24, one was like 26, one was like 28, one was like 29. And 4 of them, they don't live in the same states. One is staying at Ekiti, one stays in Kaduna, one stays in Kogi, and one stays in Ondo. They don't stay in the same place. Anyway, so as at that point, they tied the 4 of us, and one was in our front with the AK-47, one was in our back, one went into the bush, and one was cooking. I don't know what they were cooking. They were cooking some drugs.
Drugs? Wow.
I haven't seen the drugs. I'm 52 years old. I've played music for almost 37 years, if not more than. I have played with everybody in this country. I haven't seen such a drugs. They were high on drugs. And they were speaking their Niger language, because I understand a bit of Adausa, you know. Okay. So my drummer was telling me that, boss, let's run. I said, no, let's be calm. What if we run and we couldn't make it? So when we woke up in the morning, very early in the morning, we now saw the gun. Thank God we didn't run. We saw the gun. We discovered that it was real AK-47 that has several cartridges. When I mean cartridges, you know, some of these guns, when they load the cartridge, one can shoot like, this one shoot like 10. I saw it, not because they're telling me. And I said, God, thank God that because if we had run, we are 4. Do you understand? We thought that the gun is like, so that was how the journey started. So in the morning, they were beating us. As at that time, we already, they did. They said we should start. So they will go through all your phones, you know, and call your contact, ask you, they will give you the phone to call people. You know, one of the things I must say here, and honestly, I'm not afraid to say it, each time somebody ring our phone, they will take the number and they will dial some network to know who the person is.
Are you kidding?
Yep. So that tells us that they are not actually doing it on their own.
They are not illiterate either.
Well, they are not illiterate. They know what they're doing, even though they are not educated, but they understand what they're doing. And this is a cartel. This is a networking thing. They speak to the people in the communication world, in the network, you know, because they were telling me that, Allergy, all this money, they're asking me, because they started from 40 million until about 5 million on the 3rd day. They said that they are not the only one that are going to share the money. The military, the police people, the communication, because each time somebody calls me, you know, they will collect the number and they will speak to somebody in the network to know
where that person is calling from, who the person
is. In fact, when they took the 5 million,
How did you even come up? How did you even come up with the money being in that? How did they get it? Was it transferred?
That's another story. They brought it cash to them. They told me that they will know if the money, if there's a tracker following the money. You know, it's a serious thing. That's why when I heard about the Kaduna attack, you know, my spirit just went back to what I went through, because I know what the people will be going through now. It's something that is hell. There's nothing to define it than is hell. Now listen, you know, the funniest thing is that we were walking around. We trekked out of the almost 72 hours. We trekked for almost about 50 hours. Because each time you spend like 7-10 hours in a place, they will tell you to move to another location. They have people that is talking to them, monitoring their location. You know what I mean? So it's not just, it's something that is unheard of in this country. You know, because my 5 band boys that were left went to report to the military checkpoint. My immediate elder brother is a prince, is a king. So he too was already connecting people. You know, if you are, honestly, I'm sorry to say this, I don't have any other country, but if you are kidnapped, you are on your own. It takes God for you to come back. Let me tell you another thing that happened is online. After I was released, because our release was purely a miracle. The Oba, one of the Oba in Ondo, 3 days after I was released, was killed. The Oba of Ifon.
I saw that.
That's right. He went for a meeting, and on his way back, they shot him dead.
Just like that.
Just like that. So, this thing is not just ordinary. They can't kidnap you without the help of some certain key people, communication, military, when they took the money, they flipped the money. Because there's a way they will know whether the money is being tracked.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's in my presence. They even gave me 5,000 allergic. Gashi. Shigamota deshi. Zakabinon. I will pass this place and I will escape. I told them that how do they know the roadmap of the bush? They said that they can trek anywhere in Nigeria without getting to the express.
Wow.
Yes, because I experienced it for 3 days. Because they picked us from Kaba. Then we got to Ondo, we got to Auchi Bank, we got to Kogi Bank back. They brought us to Kogi Bank, trekking. You know, because it's shorter to trek from that end than, because they know all the roadmap, because they are naturally...
They are bandits. Their job actually is within the forest.
That's right. And you see why each time they are negotiating, they have people that they talk to. That this is the nature of the negotiation, this is everything. So it's not just ordinary. It is sad that the country that I belong to, that I'm serving, I've been playing music for over 3.5 decades in my country. I've had opportunity to stay in abroad with a green card, but I can't. This is where I belong. I feel great being in Nigeria, but guess what? Every of my friends all over the world now, they tell me, say, boss, you want to kill yourself in that country? Let me tell you, I just had a daughter 3 or 4 months before that kidnap. And I said that is this the last thing? Because it's not something that you can. As I'm talking to you, I'm already feeling traumatized.
I'm even having headache just listening to this.
Do you understand what I'm saying now? The second day, we were in Ekiti, the bank of Ekiti. They said, are we hungry? You know, another side of the story is that for about 28 hours, we didn't have anything to eat. So, but because we've been trekking, you needed water and fluids. So we don't have option than to, because they know everywhere within those states, 5-6 states of that area. So we had to drink water that they used to clean their cow. We drank it. I took it. So the second day they said, yeah. And they are used to it because they are on drugs. They are fetish, because while we are walking, I was asking them, aren't you guys tired? You know, as a Yoruba boy, there's something we call kanoko. You might not know what it means.
What does that mean?
It means that you can decide to trek from here to Ibadan and the road will be shorter. And they told me that that's what they are. Because these guys, they jazz a lot. I was with them. You know, at times I wish I didn't experience it. But at times I thank God experiencing it and God sparing my life, our lives, I mean, because, you know, you don't know the freedom you have sitting down. This is what you want, because we had to be forced to take such water. We were, in fact, we were drinking it with with happiness because we lost fluids. We were passing out, basically, you know. So the next day they told us, when it was second day, they said, do we want to eat? What do you want to eat? So somebody went to the market in Ekiti State, because we've left Kogi. You know, Kogi, Ekiti, Ondo, they share boundaries,
yeah.
Auchi. So I said, where are you going? You know, by the second day, they were talking to me a bit, because I can communicate a bit in Hausa, and
yeah.
they too they are not fluent in Hausa, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they told me that their father owns the land. That's deep. They say their father owns the land, and since they are not getting what belongs to them, this is what they resulted in doing.
I don't understand it.
Okay, because they said Fulani owns Nigeria.
How is that?
And you know, whether true or false, because I was just listening, you know, and they said that this place belonged to them from whether 16th or 18th century, and all of a sudden they are not getting what belongs to them, so they have resorted to kidnapping, adoption, and everything. And they said they only do 3 jobs: they kidnap, they join Boko Haram, and they do rituals. I said, what kind of rituals? Yeah, they said, what kind of rituals? They say when they kidnap somebody and people can't really come to get them, or fortunately or unfortunately it resulted into death, so they cut their body part and sell it. That was why they told me the first night. That if one of my guys slowing them down, they are going to kill him and cut his body part. And now they will still make money. They are not going to run. They are not going to lose anything. So I wasn't arguing with them, because who dare you to argue? As at that time, we are already in heaven, because we already knew. In fact, we had zeroed our minds that, well, that's the last. Because, in fact, I remember we've said our last prayer more than 30 times.
Are you serious?
It's not something I would want my enemy to experience. So, one of them went to the market for almost 5 hours, because they had to trek from the thick forest. So, by the time he came back, he brought a gari and a palm oil and mixed it and said we should eat.
What?
So
they actually do business in the same market that we go to buy.
They live like normal humans amongst us. The guy went to the market and came back. He went to the market, bought the gari and the palm oil, and he came back to the forest about 5-6 hours later. So when he brought the palm oil, I told my guys, you know, how do you eat? So some of them had to rush the gari. So we were just taking the gari, and they said we should start to trek. Now, every time they want us to trek, they will smack us with the gun, you know, and everything. So we started. They've been prior to now. They've been negotiating. People will call in, you know, and I remember my boss, my pastor, will call in. And he will be praying for them that, leave my son. Each time he calls in, after 3 or 4 times that my Oga calls in, I'll be praying that he should not call him, because each time he calls,
he's calling to pray.
He's calling to pray. They will beat us after his call. They will beat us mercilessly. Say that man, you know, he's just praying, you know, with faith that, look, leave my children. I have no money. They will beat the hell out of us. That your God that is always calling is praying that you know.
Was there any time that the security operative even called, or did anybody reach out to the police, the army?
Well, there are 2 of my adopted mom that I wouldn't want to mention their name. They've made several efforts to the government, you know, and they called. They were able to locate where we are. But what was said was that if they attack where we are, because we are many, they might be able to rescue, but they might lose some of us.
That's what they said.
That's what they said, because one of my auntie, mother, adopted mom, I don't want to mention her name, and I want to thank her especially, you know, and few of the first ladies, they tried. They did all what they could, because they too, they couldn't believe that it's happening to Tosin, that they know. You know, when you hear this thing, is a different thing.
When it happens to someone that is close to you.
And I think few days to that time, you know, I spoke to the first lady, which I wouldn't want to mention her name, and she was just, she didn't know, is it Tosin that they are talking about? And for months, she couldn't even talk to me. She told, is this my own Tosin, you know? And I remember the first lady in Lagos, after I was released, she called me to Marina and said, Tosin, we need to talk about this thing. This is not tidy. We need to find a way to help people that it will happen to. I mean the first lady.
Okay, and after that, I mean, so before I even come to, you know, the aftermath, how did they collect the ransom?
Well, when they eventually said, okay, we should look for 5 million from 40 million, that was the last day, which is the third day. So special thanks to friends, colleagues, pastor, everybody, you know, there's nothing I can practically do. So they put the money together, you know, my pastor, you know, everybody that I wouldn't want to just mention them. I appreciate my colleagues. In fact, first of all, the gospel industry was thrown into pandemonium and chaos. You know, I remember Sammy Opozo, Nathaniel Bassi, Big Bolaji, BJ Sachs, all of them, they didn't even know. That 3 nights, they don't know where they are. They were just praying. Because, you know, by the grace of God, I mean, you know, I'm not just one of the bottle in the industry in that regard. So Nathaniel, everybody was praying. Sam Opozo, I remember when they called Sammy, they told Sammy that they just kidnapped your friend. Sammy had to swear for the guy that called him that, I think you are joking, because Tosin and I spoke 2 days ago. We're on a project. And the pastor called Sammy back and said, Sammy, we are not joking. He said, you guys must be mad. You can't joke with me that they just kidnapped Tosin because we spoke 2-3 days ago. So just for you to know the way it is, everybody was...
Were they speaking in English when they were making this calls, or you actually called them, or they made the call?
I know. I reached out to my assistant in church, and God bless his soul. God bless his soul. Afolabi, okay, wonderful guy. He did a great job for that 3 nights, because he was the one interfacing with these kidnappers and reaching out to my friends, family, and everything. He did a wonderful job. It will have been God too. So when we put the money together, they transferred the money. The people I was going to perform for, they had to transfer the money for them. They too, you know, the event was just in a mess. That's another story for another day anyway. Because imagine they are preparing for events. So the event was just sorrow, pandemonium, and chaos. People, their blood pressure was skyrocketing. They took some people to hospital. Everything was upside down, you know. And they transferred the money to somebody in Kogi. And, you know, if I will bust, to my surprise, they said we had to rent somebody that will carry the money.
Yeah.
Because majority of the people that carry the money, they don't even come back alive. The kidnappers might kill them. So we got somebody, the guy charged us, and they brought the money. So the kidnapper said they only need the number of the person bringing the money. And they will know whether the money is tracked, whether the person is tracked, they will know. And I was chatting with them in Hausa that how would they know? They say I should keep quiet. They say their intelligence is higher than we that went to university.
Obviously, because from what you're just saying.
So when they were bringing the money, they collected the guy's number. They called the guy's number. There's a way they will call the number. There's a way they will speak their language to some network, and they can. So they will be tracking the person bringing the money, knowing how many people they are coming, because they can see all this. They are professionals. So when they brought the money, they instructed the guy where to put the money, where they will meet him. So they collected the money and brought the money to my presence from the guy, and they released the guy. When they realized that the guy
was practically neutral,
the money wasn't tracked, because even if they collect the money and the money is tracked, because there's something that they will use to track the naira, that you know the location. So they discovered that, in fact, we were already begging them, because the people in Kogi that we went to perform for, they said no, they will track the money. I said, we were begging them that, look, money, let the money just go. Let the money go, because we are with them. We've been with them for 3 days. We know how intelligent, how sharp, how connected they are. So we begged them that they should never track the money. Let the money go. So eventually, nobody tracked the money. We gave them the money. So they collected the money, checked the money. They flipped one like this. I don't know how they tracked the money. So they flipped the money and said, hey. So they now came to me. They said they are sorry.
They now apologize after receiving the money.
They said it wasn't people like me they wanted on that particular day. That was when I knew that I wasn't set up. But they said that I was just their food for that day, and they had to just make money. They said, okay, you know what, Allergy, got 10,000. They were telling me the route to pass. Unfortunately, as they released me, another kidnapper wanted to kidnap us. I'm talking before God of my creator. That, I'm telling you, because when they released me, when I got to the express, my guys were tired. They couldn't, because we have to walk from the bush, maybe another 45 minutes, 1 hour outside. So we were trying to look for a taxi, so we saw another bunch of kidnappers. They are everywhere. They have network everywhere. So I now said to God that, is this in Nigeria? Because I lived in the north.
How did you escape that? How did you know they were kidnappers?
Okay. So when we got out from the bush, we saw other people on the road, same road. And we were afraid because of our experience already. So we were looking for taxi. So the taxi couldn't come. So we were running on the road. We don't want to wait on one spot. As we were running, they were running after us. So a taxi came. And in fact, we were dragging one of my boys when we rushed into the taxi, because the taxi didn't practically stop. So we were now asking the taxi guy that the people running after us, is it there are another set of bandits?
This is not good.
Absolutely. It's unheard of.
This is worrisome.
I grew up in Kano, in this Jos, Kano, especially Jos, is like London.
Yes, that was what Jos used to be.
About 47, 48 years ago, I practically grew up in Jos. I went to Baptist Primary School, Jos, Baptist Primary School, Nasarawa, Kano. So this is a different story entirely now.
Now, when you came out,
yes.
Did you have conversations? Did you approach the security arm of government, or you already gave up?
Well, like I said, I'm a prince. My elder brother, a king, was already talking to the king in Kaba, talking to everybody. Then, by the grace of God, my people in Lagos, my excellencies, they were already trying to see what they can do, which they did. To be candid, the only report was that place is dangerous. If they attack the place, because we are many, they need to attack the place wisely. And what if they can't get 4 of us out, and in the process of rescuing us, they lose other people? But you see, they have talked to security agents. But what I can categorically say is that those people are working not by themselves. They are working with the people giving them guns, with the security agent, with the networks. I experienced that. Do you understand? So even if my people are trying to help me, they are getting information from security agents and network.
Of course,
and that's why they change their location every few hours. We change location for about 5-6 times over 3 days. Changing location. And we might trek at 7, 8, 10 hours to just go to another place.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million.